Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crimes Notes. Today we're going to be talking about how to solve inequalities and equations using technology. So the most important thing is that you are not going to be able to use this all the time. A lot of the times we're going to ask you to show your work, and that means that you can't just plug it into this Desmos calculator to get the answers. But I wanted you guys to have it just in case you ever needed it as a resource. So I'm going to share my screen with you, kind of like we always do. So we'll do screen one. We are going to be popping back and forth between Desmos, which is an online graphing calculator, and our actual assignment. So if you need to split your screen, I've got instructions right here. There's a quick little 1-minute video for how to split your screen. And then if you don't know how to take a partial screenshot, there is a 1-minute video that shows you how to do it on a Chromebook. I do not have a Chromebook, so I wanted to make sure to put that on there for you. And then down here, it says how to solve inequalities. And this will be the video of me. Ta-da, we're watching it right now, so that you can use it if you are not in class today. So first things first, it says we're going to solve equations using technology. So our first step is going to be to type the equation into the graphing calculator on desmos.com. Make sure that when you're typing it in, you use X, no matter what variable they put in the equation. So look over here, you notice we've got P, and in the second one we have K, but when we're typing it into Desmos, you're going to use X. So I put a link to Desmos right here in the assignment. And so you can go to desmos.com. It should open it in a separate window. And then you're going to want to go to graphing calculator. And it's going to bring up a good calculation screen. So then what we're going to do is we're going to type the equation that we were given into the box. Now, I don't know if I can do this. I'm going to try to highlight and do Control C, which means copy, and Control V. And then, of course, notice it gives me this error message. Well, notice it says we only support X and Y. So I obviously need to go back in here and I need to put in X's for all of the P's. And if you just want to type it in, you definitely can. When I do this, I should get a graph. So if we go back to our instructions, once we've typed it in, it says find the x-intercept. That's where the graph crosses the x-axis. And then click to label that point on the graph. And then we're going to take a screenshot because that's how we're going to show work, right? So if we go to Desmos, notice the x-intercept already has a little gray point, but if I actually click on it, it'll make it dark. And then you want to take a screenshot. So for you, according to that 1-minute video, you should hit Control, Shift, and the change window button, which is directly above the number 6 if you have a Chromebook. I don't, I have a Dell, so I'm going to do Windows Shift S, and that'll darken my screen so that I can take a screenshot. And then I'm going to make sure that I kind of box in just enough of it so that I get that point so that I know where I crossed the x-axis. Then it's going to tell me, hey, look, I copied it to the clipboard, which is great. Now we're going to go back to this screen and we're going to hit Control V, which is to paste, or you can right click and then you can choose this paste. Either way, we just want that graph to show up. And then we might need to make it a tiny bit smaller so that it'll fit in our box, but otherwise, there's our screenshot, right? And then it says, now write your solution with the original variable. So our original variable was P, and it's P equals. Well, the answer is the X value of the intersection point that we found in step 2. So in this case, our answer would be X equals 1. Plain and simple. So now let's try the second one. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to highlight this and do Control C, which means to copy, or you can always right click once it's highlighted and click copy. Then you're going to go into Desmos, and I'm going to use the X to erase that one. Control V is paste, or you can right click. Again, notice it gives you a little error triangle, and that's because it doesn't understand K. So we've got to go in and change all the K's to X's. And again, we're going to look, and there's our intersection. So we're going to click, make it dark, and then we're ready to do our screenshot. So again, for you, if you have a Chromebook, that's Control Shift change window. For me, that's Windows Shift and the letter S. And again, I want to make sure that I get that intersection point listed. And once it copies it, I'm going to go back and I'm going to paste it on this screen. And then if I need to, I can resize it. And of course, we're going to get whiny dogs because I'm doing a video. I'm sorry about that. Hey, enough. So again, then we go down here and the original, oh, I messed up over here, guys. P equals, because that was the equation that's in here. So down here, I would do K equals, and then my X value was -8. Ta-da! All right, so I've given you 4 problems to practice with on your own. Again, make sure that you do your screenshot and then put your answer in the box using the original variable. So now let's look at inequalities. Inequalities are not much different. We're still going to copy the equation in. We're still going to use X instead of like P or R. We're still going to look for the X-intercept. The only difference is we have to figure out if the answer is greater than or less than. So let me go ahead and copy this one, and we will take it and put it into our Desmos. Again, hit the X to clear that one out and type this in. Again, notice it's like, what is P, right? So we're going to change it to X. And it is way over here. And guys, if you ever can't see it, you can always hit this minus button, which is the zoom out, and keep hitting it until you see where it's actually crossing the X axis. Okay, but we don't want to get too far out. So same thing. I may slide my graph over a little just so you can see it better. But then I am going to click this point so that it's dark. I'm going to do my screenshot, just like we did before. And I'm going to paste it into my box. Ooh, I got it a little big this time. And we still are doing the same thing. So we know it's P, and we know that it's 8. But what we need to figure out is what goes into the middle. And so it says to determine the symbol in the solution, if the shading is to the right, we use a greater than, and if it's to the left, we use a less than. So this, the shading is to the right, so we know that this is going to be P is greater than 8. Now, notice it says if the original problem has an equal to, then you would have an equal to. Well, this one didn't have an equal to. This one does. So when we do our solution, it will have to be a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to. Okay, so let's work on the last one. This one does have fractions, and I want to go ahead and show you how to type fractions just in case. So, because when I go, I'm going to do Control-C. I'm going to go to Desmos, cancel this out. I'm going to put in V. Well, notice it did 1/2. But it didn't do 1/3. So even if I change these to X's, which is why we normally get an error message, notice it still didn't fix it. So if you click on it, it says, I don't understand the 1/3 symbol. So we need to delete that. And then we need to put in 1 and then the slash key and then a 3. And notice it made it into an actual fraction instead of that weird thing. And then we got a graph that looks pretty familiar. So now we could tap on the intersection. We could do our screenshot. We can paste that into our box. And then we do our answer, which is R. Then, I don't know why it keeps capitalizing. It's like magical autocorrect. And then we do our symbol. Well, if we look at this, it is less than because it's to the left of the point that is shaded. So we're going to do less than or equal to. So to get those symbols, you're going to have to insert a special character. And then where you're in the search bar, you would type in less than, and it's going to be that first one, less than or equal to. And then notice it puts it in the box for you. And then our answer is 7. And that's it. So even if they gave you absolute values, even if they gave you quadratics, you can always type it into the graph, see where it crosses the x-axis, and then come up with your solution. So there are 4 more practice problems for you guys to work on that are with the inequalities. Again, please make sure that you don't forget to do your screenshot. If you have any questions, remember you can always pop in to talk to us on Zoom. Have a great day.